What's up, everyone? It's 2 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon, which means you're tuning in to Cannabis Legalization News. I'm producer Lauren, and today we're going to be speaking with Kurt Akers, co-founder and CEO of Kannatopia.com. But first, we do have to get into a little bit of cannabis legalization news. So what happened this week, Miggy and Tom?
Hey,
how's it going? Well, I mean, I've been kind of running around. I just got back from, let's see, you guys see that? Yeah, kind of. If I go like that. All right. Bob Karp's giving a presentation right now over at the O'Hare something or other, one of those convention centers, going over all the application and the details therein for the Illinois one. So that's been kind of fun. Illinois answered those questions, and it raises more questions, but we're getting closer. And then, there's a whole bunch of crap that's still doing the fallout from the USDA rule that happened. And now the USDA, I haven't shared my screen yet. What's going on your end of the woods, Miggy?
Well, yeah, no worries. I got a homegrow article coming out in our local rag, Weekly Weedly. It's a Tacoma magazine.
Uh-huh.
And, just we're still battling that fight here. And so I got a question for you because of the USDA regs and you going through all this Chicago application. So you got twice the workload now because now you have new regulations that are coming out. Dude, you look haggard. I mean, yeah. Is that what lawyering does to you with 160 pages?
Well, I work a lot, but it's a fast moving industry, and so like you have to keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
See, tech doesn't work that way. You either turn that shit on and it works, or it turns itself off.
No.
There ain't no SEC regulations coming out to fuck everybody at one time.
Oh, come on, the SEC is going to regulate tech, and privacy, and all those data concerns that you guys have with that. But no, yeah, it's a grind, man. You have to keep getting up and.
I mean, speaking of the grind, I mean, just like this recent NYPD freaking haul that happened.
Yeah. Well, that happened, and I mean that one we can put the screen back up on that. That was just over the weekend. A huge NYPD bust might just be legal hemp, and so is this really starting now? They think it's 30 grand worth of legal hemp, 106 pounds worth of marijuana. So that's one of those things where how do they value what that was, right? Are they going to try to do it at street values of thousands per pound or whatever the actual? Well, they said 30,000 for legal hemp. Man, is that what's going to be happening now that they've changed it? But then the USDA yesterday, and I haven't checked this one out yet, they just put out some more clarification. They did a press release, and they've got a new video that's out that explains its draft rules for hemp. And the hemp rules that came out make the industry a lot more regulated. So the states are going to have to approve their local hemp regulation. And it can't be any less onerous than what the feds have. So it's going to have a lot more hoops to jump through next year when states like Illinois probably will, because of the lack of hoops that we had this year is great. But I haven't checked that one out. I'm going to be doing that later. They've out an informational video. And then Mexico kind of botched their deadline. Did you hear about that one?
No, what happened there?
Well, they were supposed to vote it on cannabis legalization, but it kind of fell through. So then the court made its ruling on November 1st, and so now they didn't have that thing done. So they've been given an extension until April 30th of 2020. So
yeah, maybe it's because the cartels are trying to get their shit together first.
I don't know. You think that? How do the cartels brand their cannabis? I mean, it's just not this thing that I think would sell well. But
I used to live in Tucson, dude, and Tucson was like the throttle, the bottleneck for drugs coming into the United States, and cannabis, marijuana is the number one seller for them because most people are willing to put their safety at risk for just a pound or two, saying, hey, I will sell this, opposed to like carrying meth or coke or any other stuff, so it's a big economy generator for the cartels. You'd be surprised.
Man, that does surprise me. I thought the cartels had gotten out of the cannabis game because it was no longer really profitable as the United States was growing high quality cannabis itself.
It's still profitable, bro. How many states are still illegal?
Yeah, that's right. Illinois is still illegal. I mean, for another 8 weeks.
Yeah, well, Arizona's just medical, and that's still the gateway. They were 51%. I believe the rules were like Florida's, where they had to be 55%.
No, they passed it twice. They passed it like in '96, and then they did a ballot initiative on the heels of California. But the government didn't go for the ballot initiative, and they kind of screwed it, and they killed it eventually. And then the next time it came up for a vote in 2003, it missed. And then finally, when it came up for a vote again in like 2010, and then the medical law for Arizona went into effect there. But that's one of those things when you have the ballot initiatives as opposed to the legislative change that comes, it's got more chicanery that can be built in.
Yeah. Well, and with the because they were up for recreational too, weren't they?
I don't know if Arizona's ever tried to go for recreational, but I could look in more to the Arizona laws, I guess.
Well, because I think they came pretty close with recreational at one time.
Yeah, maybe. No. I mean, we came really close to recreational, and it's been really fun, like putting together all these teams for stuff. I mean, this haggard look. This is the look of reading operating agreements for 6 hours a day. And you're like, no, maybe, no. And it burns you out.
No, I get it. That's what I was saying. I like, for me, when I have to understand a new product, I have to read a manual that has big words in it, like harmonics and different mathematical formulas that I had no fucking clue about. I just kind of guesstimate, like, all right, I think it's supposed to do something.
Starting to educate the people. Yeah, but it was great. And so I'll read all these applications that I'll get my hands on, and you'll read more, and then you'll actually get to see it in practicality, which is going to be really, really cool. Somebody thinks that Arizona is close to rec. So there we go. Maybe if that's a ballot initiative state, maybe they'll have to do it by ballot initiative, because that's how they got their medical 3 times, because it took that long before the legislature was ready for the cannabis.
Well, the problem with Arizona too, besides cartel self-interest, is you have a lot of what people would call infighting. There's all these different groups that are, some of them are friends with, Safer Arizona is one people. Mm-hmm. There's a couple other groups out there, but sometimes they have pissing contests about verbiage or terminology. And so then are my bills better than your bill type stuff? It's kind of petty.
I think it's called mere puffery. It's part of branding. It's like, our shit's the best, your shit's weak. Yeah. Deal with it. Come on, buy our shit, it's better.
Well, it's like with Washington, with our lack of home grow, people are like, we don't want to vote for this because it has DUI limits and no home grow, which I agreed with. But, the other argument is we just want to get something on the books. We're just trying to get our foot in the door, and then we can start, fighting it there.
You know what you should do? Why don't you just do it straight as a tax? Be like, all right, let's introduce new language to the legislature that says, you want home grow, that's fine. You have to give us a harvest notice, and then your harvest is going to be weighed, and then we'll assess you so many tax. You treat it like how they have fishing contests and trophies and stuff.
Yeah.
You treat it like that. Be like, oh, I'm going to be harvested in a few days, bro. This is a monster of a plant. And then sure, you could have the record for the weight or something, and then you pay your tax, and then you go on your way.
That's kind of a good idea. I mean, here in Washington, we just pulled with the recent elections, we just pulled this big car tax. So we're about to lose $30 billion or some shit like that a year.
It's a good thing that everybody moves there. So how are you funding your government? Is it sales tax? If it's not real estate tax, what's it doing?
Well, I honestly don't know. It's kind of silly, dude. The place where Bezos lives, the richest neighborhood out here, has school education issues as far as funding. Like, you're so wealthy that your money doesn't leak.
Right. They have all the money. I mean, so yeah. What do they need more money for? Is that just kind of like the mantra everywhere? It's like, we need more money.
I just don't think they are so good at writing the rules that they make it so it passes them. Kind of like with people like in the Panama Papers, you got people with money who are managed to make it look like they don't have any.
Yeah, they like to be humble while they're all powerful. they're just like you and me.
Oh, yeah.
They have the opportunity to do whatever they want, more or less, within ethical bounds.
Yeah, I guess.
But they get to make all the rules, don't they?
But you get all the money.
Bezos owns the papers, and then he also owns Alexa, and he also owns your shopping cart. So he knows he's owning what your guys are buying. And what's that?
Oh, I was gonna say, well, speaking of the rules too, I mean, let's think about the social media rules.
Oh yeah, social media. I know, right? And that talk about the guys there that own you on that. I mean, like this is a social media company called YouTube, but we're also on Facebook, which is the biggest publisher in the world.
Right.
Where's that going? I mean, like, do you think that there's some type of problem with this, especially when it comes to trying to get the message out for why cannabis should be legalized and what the status of its legalization efforts are?
Let's talk about even just shadow betting. Hey, I got to go for a second.
Oh, well, you have to go. This has been a wonderful introduction to our guests.
No, we're good. Go ahead.
But like still, I mean, we just introduced them pretty well because we're going to have them on to talk about these very issues.
Yeah, Kurt, can you tell us a little bit about Kannatopia?
Hi, fellas. Yeah. So Kannatopia is a 21 over social platform for modern cannabis consumers, cannabis businesses, and cannabis brands. Where we're really trying to solve the problem where most cannabis consumers generally don't want to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram sharing their cannabis experiences across the country, depending on what their comfortability levels are. And then just tons of cannabis business brands always get shut down on Facebook, content deleted off YouTube, Instagram accounts deleted. So we're coming in to try and solve those two problems for both consumers and businesses.
Cool. So what type of platform is it then?
Web-based platform right now. We launched at the end of 2017 with our MVP version, spent most of 2018 identifying our consumer base, what they were like, what the features they were interacting with. And then we've been working on a pretty big iteration of that with those consumers throughout 2019.
Hey, Kurt, we were talking earlier. Your base right now is mostly Chicago in that platform, right?
Yep. Chicago based. We wanted to stay here because we thought Chicago had a lot of opportunity when it went towards recreational, but also with the medical program that we were pretty involved with and seeing how that developed. And we wanted to stay here and give a place because we have roots here.
So I signed up for your platform, but it wasn't very friendly for me to navigate. You know, at this point, I'm old and I just like things to when click and shit. But how do I see how do I see other people? How do I find other people? Or do I have to just create my own network by inviting everybody in that platform?
So when we released the MVP version, we wanted people to try and interact by inviting other people or interact through features like the guides and recommendations we created. That was one of the things we kind of learned early on, is that more people wanted to interact right away with other people just within the platform rather than friends off the platform. So in the version that we're working on right now, we have a groups area specifically where people can join all different types of new groups. This was modeled out after the Facebook group problem where people were getting Facebook groups shut down all the time. A handful of our friends run some of the top Facebook groups here in Illinois, Maryland, Ohio, Pennsylvania. And so they had to keep migrating over and over all their user bases. And so that's one thing that we're working on right now, trying to solve that.
Awesome. Can you give us like a use case scenario? So one of your users would use your platform how?
A couple different reasons. One, it depends on their comfort level around cannabis. It's not like California, but a place like Chicago, for example, where you may be an account executive downtown Chicago that doesn't want maybe everybody in your company knowing what you're using. So you can't use Facebook, can't use Instagram, informational purposes, group purposes, all that kind of stuff. And they want to go to our platform to either share those kinds of experiences, either just by a username, think Reddit, for example, and then just have more cannabis specific information. Illinois is not as advanced as a California or Washington for cannabis culture. So there's a lot of new people out there, or people that want to interact, but they don't know where to go or have that kind of comfort level.
You guys are kind of like creating a safe space pretty much, as far as like it's cannabis specific. If I want to go into a cannabis platform, and then, oh, look, so that was my issue really, is I wanted to see like a feed of like what other people were saying. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, exactly. And that, again, that's another feature we're working on right now too. It's called our community feed. So you'll be able to see all these new users that come into the platform, what they're posting, what they're about, or what groups they may be joining within the Kannatopia platform.
Interesting. So can they like promote various stuff that they're doing, or what types of posts would I be making if I was in the platform?
Yeah, so you can make video posts, you can make group posts, you can make recommendations. So you can make gear recommendations, strain recommendation, product recommendations. You can create how-to guides, travel guides, recipe guides, things like that, and share them. So, and then we also have another feature called our Canna Log. So it's a place where you can track your experiences that you're having. The medical people, especially within our platform, have really gravitated towards that feature a lot because they want to know what strains they're using, the products, the details, and the dosages. So kind of where people used to keep strain journals, they now can use that in a digital environment and then bring it into a dispensary.
Yeah, that catalog option I think is a good emphasis for you to do, because when people ask, like, what's a good strain or what's good for my back, and honestly, I just give them a blank face and be like, look, you have to experience it for yourself, man.
It's trial and error, and everybody has a different, different products, different states, different industries, and they're all, we wanted to try and create one universal system where they can use it at their discretion with whatever was happening in either their lives or their state with products that were available to them. So
what problem, like, is your app or your piece of software solving? That's usually the question that I always ask when I see a new business model. I was like, all right, well, usually business models solve an issue or a problem.
Yep.
How does your web solution solve something?
So it's twofold. So one, for the modern cannabis consumer or medical patient, they're able to have that safe environment to interact with other people like themselves. And then for the business and brands, we're working on the social media crux issue where people continuously get their business accounts shut down on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube content. Content creators get their content deleted all the time. And so we want to solve that problem for them, but then give them an environment where they can easily get in front of consumers who matter most to them, which are those medical cannabis consumers or modern cannabis consumers. So we use that technology where they can create their own profiles. They don't have to worry about getting them shut down. And then we're creating a set of features for them to help them get more advertising and marketing related.
Oh, definitely need a social media platform. Tom could tell you I had a 10-year Facebook account deleted.
Oh. Ours haven't been deleted yet.
Yeah. They could happen. It's that's the problem. You have that gray area with no understanding what days, when things going to happen. Am I going to have an Instagram account? Am I going to, it's that uncertainty. And a lot of the big companies, they don't want to be able to have that. So people have to have 3, 4, 5 Facebook accounts or Instagram handles to try and, prepare in advance of those problems.
Yeah, and you have no rights. You lose it, you're done. I've gotten several just blanket emails, like, thank you, Autobot.
By terms of service, this was okay with you. What? That was okay with me, was it? You said so. Otherwise we wouldn't have allowed you to have the account, sir.
Yeah. And the biggest problem we saw for the users on those platforms, again, this is more focused on that modern user or medical users, was related to Facebook groups. So when they would join a group, that may have 30,000, 40,000 people part of that, and they felt like they had some environment where they were like connected with people. Right. And then all of a sudden that group got shut down. This was the biggest problem we've noticed over the last year for at least the user side, is that they just all of a sudden one day didn't have a place to go that they were already ingrained in. And so we want to make sure we're providing that for them too. And that's kind of a big problem.
Sure. And the shadow ban is definitely a real thing in social media.
Why do you think they do that shadow ban?
What's that?
Why do you think they do the shadow ban? Why does social media have such a problem with cannabis, you think?
Well, especially with Facebook, it's got to be weird because they started out with 420 characters.
Facebook did?
Yeah. That was the max limit of the post, if no one remembers.
I think
they even had that number there. They had the number there too.
Yeah, but the shit, man, the shadow ban thing. The only reason why at first I was like, yeah, that's not really a thing, but I can prove and know it is a thing because I used to Google the words, or not Google, Facebook, whatever you want to call it, search in the Facebook engine, cannabis and marijuana, and I would pop up with all these various post of like arrest from police departments bragging about whatever arrest they had, and that's my opportunity to go trolling the police and kind of sharing it and let it be known that these guys are bragging about a 10-gram bust or whatever. And one day it just stopped doing that. I couldn't find any posts about cannabis or marijuana.
That sucks, man, because I love that picture of those cops that think they're all like bad shit. They need to stop taking trophy pictures of cannabis when they pull it over. It's not a trophy, especially when it's hemp like that. And it looks like it may have been a legitimate shipment. But that's one of the things. After you get done harvesting that hemp, you do kind of want to have a picture with it. It is like catching a fish. You're like, yeah. And so I understand the cops' mentality by them taking those pictures. Like, look what I did. I stopped this. But I just think it's terrible that that's a thing that people take pride in, in catching, and then, or like just having that stuff and showing it off.
Crazy.
Well, saving nobody. I mean, who did you help that day?
But why do you think Facebook has this problem? And like, it's all social media. There's shadow bans basically everywhere. I mean, when we started blowing up on Facebook back when you started sharing those dank memes, like in 2014 or something, that Facebook page like blew up from like 10,000 to 300,000 in like a couple of months. And then it was just.
Yeah. And I think each person has a different experience, like the algorithm, or whatever you want to call it, kind of tailors itself to like, hey, this guy searches for weed a lot. Let's stop that. Like, I noticed like how I see, because I don't even use the app no more. I just go to the website, and I know it looks different than the actual app. None of this shit's cohesive. And, we're all a part of just somebody's experiment. But to have a nice platform, a safe space, that's where it's at. I mean, the fact that you're focused on Chicago, I think is a great. What's the population of Chicago? Like within 1 million, right?
Just over 2 million sit in the city area, but majority the Chicagoland area, which is like
62% population, which is 12.7 million.
Yeah.
This is what happens when they do a bifurcation according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics for the allocation of the numbers of licenses. You learn it like this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great market right there, just for being that you guys are about to step into recreational.
There's like 5 million people in the area.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're highlighting the medical shops there, Kurt?
Yeah. So we have a handful of dispensaries that have joined the platform from our business side. We're still on a beta version for the business. So we do invite only for that right now. And then we brought on a handful of brands as well to see how they want to operate and how they want to interact with the platform too. So.
What about farms? I mean, everybody likes weed porn.
Cultivation farms, you mean?
Yeah.
I think it's a little, for us, it's a little different at this point because it's not like what you have the cultivations here in Chicago, right? You have Cresco, GTI. They're just more single orientated, big farms right now. You could call them big cultivation centers versus the more niche, smaller environment that you may see in Washington, Oregon, California. I think that will change in this next
2021 though. There will be 40 licenses handed out next summer. And so those guys will start putting in crops hopefully by it's going to be a little early, but hopefully by January 1st of 2021, we have some new cannabis, some craft cannabis providers in the state that are going to put out some awesome shit.
Yeah. But Illinois is kind of really focused with, I mean, right now, kind of the multi-state operators have really taken over Illinois, whether it's MedMen, GTI, Cresco, a lot of those guys. So,
damn, I didn't realize that the corporate weed is already there when it was medical.
Oh yeah, the corporate is huge, and then not only they built in these incubator things into the law, so a lot of them are now partnering up with some new players, but they get locked out, so they can only have like 10 licenses. But now they're going to have these affiliations with these incubators that are out there, and they're going to love to put Cresco on their shelves.
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah.
Kurt, what else? Are you preparing anything for the recreational scene?
It's kind of twofold. So at least with our platform, it's for recreational consumers, medical consumers, both of them together. It's just we want to provide the environment for them, and they'll navigate towards whatever features that they're more into. So for our groups feature, for example, there'll be an Illinois medical focus group. There'll be an adult recreational group. There's groups that people can create on their own. So it kind of just depends on where each of them lie. Our goal is not to tell people, it's just for these people. It's more all encompassing.
Well, and really all use is medical use.
Yeah. I mean, and that's where a lot of people are, for example, so my brother's an epileptic. So a lot of why I got involved in the cannabis space 7 years ago was for him and the experiences I had. But he was both a, recreational consumer and an epileptic consumer, medical consumer. So it's like that's how most people are. His is just more specific to epilepsy. But what about the people that are doing it for wellness or people that have sleeping problems? It's kind of the same thing. Where do you fit?
Well, that's the thing that you hear all the time, but it's illegal to do any research and look at these anecdotes that are out there that you hear people of how it positively changed their lives. But for the past forever, decades, it's been illegal to study any benefit for this plant.
Yep.
Now, to have safe access to it where it was grown under the appropriate circumstances, like Cresco can grow its flowers today, that type of stuff. So as more and more people get familiar with it and more and the stigma continues to decline, especially in the medical fields, then the plant will probably really sweep over the rest of the country. I mean, if we can get Schedule 1 knocked out in the next 5 years, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
Well, the wellness conversation gets lost sometimes in advocates too. Like even myself, for years, I'm just preaching like, it's just the right thing to do. And then I find myself in a dry spell without a week. I'm like, shit, my back hurts, my knees hurt. What the fuck is going on? And you pick it up again, and you're like, okay, now I know there's a balance there that kind of like I tell my kids, I'm like, it's just like vitamin C. It's like, you know what scurvy is? All right, well, I'm trying to prevent scurvy, but with THC.
Yeah, I don't think scurvy is helped by THC. I thought that was vitamin C, but there's a lot of
oranges.
Yeah. Oranges.
But I'm just saying the wellness part of it is an aspect that we kind of, it fights cancer. The endocannabinoid system is involved in your nervous system and your bone structure. I mean, there's people are like, I think more overwhelmed by like, no way this could be such an awesome thing if it's illegal. And now you got to go into the conversation of, well, why it's illegal.
Yeah. The answer, racism, which is terrible. And then, they don't teach them that. So like this cannabis stuff is so cool. Wouldn't it be great if they taught this in like med school or something, so people would know about this? Yeah,
right.
Or like, when did you learn about this? Oh, there's a patent from 1940 and also another patent from 1913 or some shit like that.
No, the 1940s when we isolated cannabidiol, and the patent was from like just most recently. It's about to expire, 663507. I want to say it was like 2001. Like cannabis is antioxidants and neuroprotectants.
Yeah, but aren't those
based owned by the government? Is that the one that's owned by the government?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But aren't those also based on other patents from, like, I believe, before?
They cited the paper from the Chemical Journal from 1940 that had the isolation of CBD. Yeah.
I just think it's wild that we've known the beneficial factors of this, yet tobacco and beer.
You're irregular. You're not some lately normal person that just cares about his lawn and stuff, and then so. Because of that, I think a lot of people just don't even look at it because it's illegal. They're just like, nope. Mm-mm.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Kurt, are you a consumer then? I mean, being in the space, do you consume as well?
I'm actually not a consumer. So I do use CBD related products. But for me, I'm more on that wellness aspect. I was a Division I athlete. So for me, it was more focusing on anything that's wellness orientated. And I gravitated more towards the CBD side of things.
Sure.
But for me, a lot of it just stemmed from my brother and his actual medical condition and epilepsy, and being somebody from a non-consumption side, trying to understand where this benefit was coming. I mean, my brother was loaded up on 5 different medications, taking 25 pills a day. So he was turned into a zombie. And you're like, can't take another pill for nausea or some other side effect he's having. He needs relief in a different way. And so that's kind of where my mind went to, and trying to research and find as much evidence to support that as possible.
So what was your athlete, man? So you said you're a division.
Yeah, I played ice hockey.
Ice hockey. Where'd you go to school?
Where I go to school?
Yeah.
Niagara University in New York, hockey school up there.
That does sound like being a hockey school if you're in Niagara University.
Yeah, right by Buffalo. So.
Oh, awesome.
So I have my fair share of injuries, and then obviously with testing rules, you're subject to certain things that you cannot do. So.
Like, because some of the people that are against hockey is a high intensity, aggressive, concussion based, broken bones, injury prone. Do you think that cannabis, CBD or THC, would be able to help with the trauma that they might go through with their concussions and the pain that they might go from beating their bodies up?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. I mean, I had friends that were consumers. before games, after games, because they would get hit. And what are you going to take? Another, medication?
Advil or something,
Yeah, I mean, you don't really have too many alternatives, and some people just like to try and use cannabis, but it's a touchy area in sports, especially when there's testing or regulations that.
You think that's entirely only because it's a Schedule I substance? So, like, if that was removed, then it would be like they aren't screening them for alcohol, are they?
No.
I didn't think they were screening them for alcohol either. I'm just kind of asking, because that's. But yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that's really cool, man.
Being that Canada legalized, what's the NHL stance on hockey or on cannabis now? Do we know?
They are looking into it more specifically. That's kind of all that's out there.
So right now, I think it's basketball. They're actually considering it, right? So somebody said, "Hey, we're okay with the CBD portions of it."
That's Rob Gronkowski in the NFL said he would come back to the NFL if the NFL said it was okay. At least on the CBD side.
He's affiliated with the company, so when you go to these trade shows in the cannabis industry, you'll see this big cutout of Gronk, just like with his football and all the CBD pills, and you're like, all right, keeping them in the news. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's relevant no matter what, right? It's about the wealth or health, wellness.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the medical side, the health and wellness side, and you have the recreational side, they all overlap in some degree, but everybody's going to have a different kind of area that they latch onto.
So when your brother lights up, is he like, this one's for epilepsy or is this one's for Friday?
No. So we went through the whole gamut. I mean, anything from tinctures to capsules to flower to vaping to, all the edibles. And he just went back to flower, and he just found different strains that were helping for medication relief. So for him, where he gets the most benefit, his epilepsy was brought on by a traumatic brain injury he had. So for him, it's all on the medication relief and side effects side, not necessarily stopping his epilepsy, although it could be helping there. We don't know, right?
It is a protectorant according to a patent that the government has.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so, but the benefit that we actually anecdotally see on a daily basis is on the medication relief side. Nausea, stimulating appetite, helping with weight fluctuations, anxiety portions. So
I'd imagine too, it also helps with like decompression, just like with glaucoma, so you maintain that. You can't just smoke one and it automatically happens.
Do you know why does it make your eyes red?
Smoke?
Yeah.
The smoke.
No, I don't think it's the smoke. It's something that's in the smoke. Why do your eyes – this is – okay, once again, I'm going to put a disclaimer on this. I think this is true.
Oh, shit. That's going to be rough as a lawyer because, see, I can talk shit no matter what. And I'd be like, this is not advice.
Okay. This is what I think. It's a vasodilator, right? So that's one of the reasons why they say, oh, it's good for asthma because it'll open up your vessels, right? Yeah. So if you open up your vessels, which are tiny in your eyes, wouldn't it get red?
That makes sense.
All right. Yeah. Maybe that's true. I'm not sure. Sure. Yeah.
As an asthmatic, I can attest that it does help me breathe sometimes, and that's the other thing is like with your catalog, even as a continuous smoker, some strains help me breathe better than others. I couldn't tell you which ones because I see that I have that strain, I smoke it. I'm like, oh, this is a good one. Well, if I find myself in the store again, I didn't bring the fucking jar with me. I don't remember what the fucking name was. I'll just get the next cheap thing again.
Exactly. And so, I mean, one of the big reasons we see too is, so my co-founder, the reason she's so interested in the catalog feature that we have and uses it is because she hates certain products. She hates certain strains. And she's like, I never, ever want to touch that again. So she actually uses a log to track the one she hates and never wants to look at again.
Yeah, that's that's a first world problem right there.
Yeah.
Selection is so excellent. You have some you crossed off the nope. Like I remember back in my day, we'd have to pick seeds and sometimes smoke these painful joints. I'm just gonna put this down.
Dude, time. I don't miss having to buy a quarter pound and being stuck with that same quarter pound for a month until I can get.
That's a lot. That's a lot to go through too.
Not if you're a consumer. I mean, there's different again, people who are really sick. When I realized that this was really medicine, when we had a farmers market atmosphere out here, and there was a lot of open consumption in these markets, just blatant smoking, dab, whatever. There was this market that happened out here in this place called Black Diamond. It was a beautiful, out in the country, had a greenhouse where all the vending was happening, but you couldn't smoke in there because the smoke actually bothered a lot of people. These people all consume edibles. You could dab in there because that vape was, dispersed by the time they were done, but you couldn't smoke flower. We all have our personal preferences. Again, we're like snowflakes. Each one of us fucking different, man.
Yeah, we're all unique and special. Yeah. Maybe these places will need to have some type of exhaust fan. I have no idea.
Well, that'll be bound to happen, dude. I mean, people are going to complain, and you're going to work around your customer base.
Small dream. Go with me here. All right. So I walk into a place where it's legal to publicly consume cannabis without fear. All right. And you could walk by a table where people are smoking something, and you walk by another table, and you'd be like, oh, what is that? And so you'd be able to get smells of different cannabis in use, and then gravitate and find yours that's out there that's for you. And then of course you could also mark off the ones that are not suiting you, like with the web app, right?
Yeah, that'd be total.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen that consumption space in California that just opened up?
No. Where's that?
Heard about that one. Is
Oh
it Lowell, right?
Yeah, let me find a video on that one. That was amazing. So Reason Magazine, Reason website, whatever they are, they did a video on that. It was pretty awesome. Let's see. Cannabis Lounge.
Cannabis Lounge. On-site cannabis consumption, as they call it.
There we go. Oops.
I wonder what some of these companies are going to be called. That's one of the things that I think about when I'm helping some teams go together, and then also knowing that there's going to be thousands of this application in there,
Well, the thing was, like with the word bud tender, when it was medical here, they were actually bud tenders because they help select the buds out of these jars and, help with the waif and terpenes. Now here in Washington State, everything's in plastic containers, and they're like, here you go, bro. Yeah, it's got the highest THC levels on it, man.
Yeah, that's the problem. Everybody's always clocking that THC levels because they know it drives sales. And they're like, man, we got to make some money. Let's sell this stuff. What's the THC levels?
Well, it comes into an ignorant consumer base, and with an app like or a website like Kirk's, you can, educate yourself. Do you guys offer a lot of educational? What are you doing to help enlighten people as far as the feeds go in your sections?
So, well, again, the two other features that we'll be releasing are news related. So they'll be covering opportunities for news related companies and education services to get their content out there. And then the group specifically, again, is one that we're looking towards where advocacy oriented groups and education groups can create a following and have their following of people to get their content out there. One thing related to your, the packaging that you were talking about within Washington, one of the ideas we toyed around with for a while were smell guides for the people that didn't want, couldn't touch the product, couldn't smell their cannabis anymore. We toy around a little bit with creating a feature for smell guides and people that can get a better understanding before they get to their products.
Well, something like that, it would definitely be like the terpenes is what you want to base it off of. Oops, we'll say
terpenes. There's for those now.
Tom, can you stream a video at the same time that we're doing this? This is the video of the Cannabis Lounge here in San Francisco.
Do you know how to share your screen?
Me? No, you want me to do that? I'll fuck it up, dude. I just was thinking if you wanted to. That's all.
All right, you sent me a link. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's right here in the private chat thingy.
All right. Well, if this fails, I want you to know it's your fault.
Hey, I still love you. If it works or not.
Still in the middle of something. Okay.
Is it loading?
Dude,
check that out.
You're welcome.
You the man, dude. So yeah, that's the future right there, buddy.
This is the future, right here, man.
I mean,
kind of like by and just be like, oh my gosh, what is that lovely smell? Oh, I'm gonna have to pick up an ounce of that.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Kurt.
Sorry.
I think in Illinois, there is no provision that says people can't open up a smoke shop here or a lounge here.
Yeah, they allow it. On-site consumption is allowed, but they give it to the municipality how they're going to regulate it. And so, shout out to Rock Island that has actually passed a zoning plan that includes on-site consumption. So that's nice. Like whenever I have somebody that's like, "Oh, how are we going to do this?" I'm like, "We should check out what Rock Island did, and then do that." Yeah.
So, Tom, do you have any clients that are trying to open cannabis lounges yet?
Not cannabis. Well, you'll get a lot of calls about it. So, like, you'll get people that are calling that want that business model, and I'm like, "Yeah, bro, here's the problem. Well, how much do you want to like go on offense and draft a ordinance and then propose that to somewhere? And then will Chicago do that? I don't freaking know, because I'm assuming that the politics in that city are going to be insane. But when you have smaller communities like a Rock Island, for example, or a Peoria, then maybe you'd have a better shot at getting something legitimate done."
Well, what if somebody from Rock Island comes to you? Would you be able to represent them?
Sure.
I just think that'd be dope.
You would think that a lot of the hookah operators or people that already have a smoking related kind of consumption place would cigars would have the most interest in that possibly.
Yeah, a little BYOB policy.
Yeah.
Well, Chicago's got that whole prohibition history, so I mean, you gotta come through, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's going to be interesting to say the least, but I know that it's just going to take one moron to like stumble into traffic and everything goes back in the closet. Just put it back in the box, arrest everybody.
Yeah.
It'll never happen again.
Yeah. Well, that was a big fear, right? In Colorado, a couple people had incidences, but mostly because of mixing medications. So, I mean,
clean or something. They're doing a whole bunch of Xanax and weed. Yeah.
I just, marijuana has yet to kill anybody. I think we're safe. If I were to invest some money in a business, as far as like a space, it would be a cannabis one. Between all the events I've attended and all the parties and sessions, whatever, pure cannabis, no matter how much extract or how much no one's died. I watched. Yeah,
I would just watch out for the uninitiated. So, like, you just have to watch out for the people that don't know what they're doing.
Oh, I know. I've seen them pass out.
Give us, Put out there, sport. Strong enough.
Kurt, do you go to events promoting Kannatopia?
Yeah, so I used to actually run Cannatech Chicago here with the CIO of Cresco. So we ran that out of the tech incubator we're part of in Chicago. So we do meetup groups every month. We don't do as many events right now, just because we're pretty lean on what we're doing. So I was just at Bazinga's Capital Conference here in Chicago, a couple other places, but we kind of just stay local right now. Not too much travel. I used to go out to a lot of different events, right? So 2012's Marijuana Business Daily Conference, very first one. So I've been around the space for a while. I've been a lot in Seattle and what is it? Hemp, what's it called?
Hemp Fest, yeah.
Hemp, yeah, and a handful of those. Same thing. Just random events, I would say.
I was at the Bazinga event. Did you have a booth there?
No, just personally there. With a couple other people.
Cool. I'm not sure if I ran into you. There's a lot of people there.
There is. There's a lot of people. So,
well, the reason why I ask, I just think like in your platform, you're kind of missing an opportunity when you do have, like you said, the cannabis space, but there's also the cannabis culture. As far as, and I don't know Chicago's cannabis culture. That's somebody who is a patient and has been going to these sessions and just being involved all the time. They're out here in Washington. Our cannabis culture, when it was medical, was pretty huge. And the things I did have an opportunity to see and attend were pretty amazing. But it was way bigger than anything I even had a chance. I just even saw a drop of it. There was all over the state things were going on at that time.
Yeah,
and I imagine the same thing's happening over there in Illinois right now.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit quieter compared to a Washington, California, Oregon, to say the least. So like when I ran Cannatech Chicago, we wanted to do technology and cannabis to start off, but it gravitated towards more just general cannabis interest. So we had about 1,000 people part of that, about 100 people a month in our monthly meetups. And it just became more broad than more specific, just because people just didn't know where to start, who was involved in the space, what they wanted to talk about, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. So that is one thing. I mean, like, they could use some more cannabis culturing up here.
Yeah.
Joints with in Chicago. Seriously.
Yeah, you'll have to go to 420 Waldo's Fest, is put on by Dispensary 33 and a handful of the operators and other dispensaries. We participated in that. It's a good little space, but I'd say that's one of the more unique cannabis cultural events in Chicago.
I think it's really kind of exciting that over the next, 3 months, that's it. We're going to start having all these new scenes where you can have people buying and consuming weed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tom had his mind blown when he came to Hemp Fest and saw just open consumption and dabs.
Yeah,
It's huge. Hemp Fest is huge.
Mile and a half.
That was the first dab I ever did, man.
A mile and a half of just pot consumption. It's one of the best events I think ever.
Yeah. I love the way that you described the end of Hemp Fest. It's kind of a bummer. Everybody just kind of packs up and goes home.
Anticlimactic.
It's anticlimactic because no alcohol is served. No one's drunk. Everybody's a little high, and they've had dry mouths, so they're fully hydrated, and then they just go home. It's great.
Yeah. It was like Oktoberfest. There'd be all kinds of incidents, fights. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a long time before you see a Hemp Fest style thing here in Chicago, at least on that
scale. Wait a minute. Do it. Come on.
It'd be amazing. But on that scale, I mean, I think it'd be.
I think you underestimate the Northeast, bro. I mean, with Hash Bash and
Hash Bash,
for a number of joints smoked at once, something like that. Just some chicanery record where it's like, look, Chicago, we're all gonna be rolling joints at this particular time.
Yeah,
that's the thing. The culture is about stupid shit. It's like, all right, we're all gonna go to here at this one space and light up. Like that sounds. I mean, it sounds cool. Then you do it, and you're like, this is kind of boring as fuck. We're just standing here smoking a joint.
I got places to be, guys. Yeah, see you next time. All right. Yeah.
I guess they, in Chicago, they're going to go to Buckingham Fountain. Would be my only, where it's not Daly Park. Who knows?
Yeah.
Avenue Beach.
Yeah, the beach. Beach is pretty cool.
Yeah,
you just gotta find that one rebel. I don't. Does even Chicago have a cannabis activist or somebody that stands out in your guys' area?
Gonna need to take some notes on that one. Get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, Normal's been active. The Normal organization.
Yeah.
It's more organization industry based here than just straight up individuals. Obviously, guys, from the state legislator side, whether it's Kelly Cassidy or Heather Staines or Bob Morgan, like obviously those guys are, very, very, very active. So
that makes sense. So you guys are more like mafia controlled.
Well, that's. Really.
I wouldn't go that far. Everybody's like, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, everybody's like pretty responsible here, at least from my experience.
Yeah, I'm just saying, just to get shit done, it took the legislators and people of power to initiate it. Whereas in all the other states, it's a bunch of dirty hippies getting signatures and passing just medical.
Imagine if the dirty hippies couldn't get signatures. Welcome
right.
to Illinois.
That's hysterical, dude.
That's why it was passed legislatively. That's why it's going to help all these new social equity businesses be created. It's going to make a lot of money for a lot of people. I like the way they've set it up. I wish it was a little bit more liberal, but give it time.
We're getting there. Did you see Ohio? 3 cities passed measures to decriminalize it.
That's good. Ohio's policy, that would be another big get. Because they're already medical and they've been medical for a bit. So they might be right to go, well, it would depend. I would have to see if they have to do it legislatively or if they have to do a ballot initiative.
I just think slowly we're turning over to the common sense. It's just like now this whole Republican forward thing, and then Trump killed his party because yesterday Kentucky and all these other states that were supposed to be always been in the red. Which I don't care if it's red or blue. It's all about Americans. Just fucking go forward.
Hey, bring me up to speed on the elections. I kind of missed that last night.
Oh, they lost a couple of houses. The governor, the one that he was at the what's that?
Who's they?
Republicans.
Woo! Sorry.
But again, I don't care. I mean, the platform of like telling people what to do is what bothers me, right? Like you can't have an abortion.
Freedom.
My God.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom. Hang on a second there, buddy. Haven't you heard about the Lord?
But
But
I think Americans are becoming more common sense based. We're realizing that everybody we're pretty much getting fed shit all the time. I mean, the Cambridge Analytics prove that we can be manipulated through Facebook. That's why I think it's good to have alternative platforms to jump to help spread your messages. Tom, when you and I first started coming out is when fucking Alex Jones and InfoWars started, dude. Like, when the internet was brand new.
Because that was a safe space for people to share things that weren't going to be censored.
Yeah. Just say we were coming up when the internet was brand new. People were swayed real quick. Everybody clings to their whatever beliefs, and then you realize, like, oh man, that person's full of shit. I mean,
Yeah, but how much money have you already given them?
Right. But I'm just saying, when the guy talks about gay frogs, we're gonna, America, they're turning into gay frogs. You gotta watch out. I mean, you gotta just.
It was entertaining.
Yeah, that is what it is. Just like goddamn, who's the Fox guy, Hannity. I mean, people think he's a fucking reporter. He's straight up entertainment. That's what he's labeled as. Like, that's a thing. But it's just a matter, I think, who people believe things. Huh?
Your platform, are you going to be taking ads? Are you going to eventually have to kowtow to the almighty dollar as well to be able to deliver your message?
Kind of, yeah. So the way we've done is we're doing through sponsored posts. So companies that can create sponsored opportunities within the platform. We messed around with a revenue model of upgrade subscriptions for business and brands and additional features. But mainly it's going to come through sponsorships.
So are you gearing towards strictly cannabis companies for that sponsorship? Because I think one of the things that I've been trying to do, which till one day I get the $1 million following or 1 million people following, is I think it'd be great to have like a Taco Bell or a Jack in the Box, like advertise directly on or sponsor a cannabis type person. Know your fucking audience, Taco Bell. I'm just saying.
I mean, we've had companies outside the cannabis space approach us all the way from consumer beverages to other tech companies to travel companies. It's an interesting one. Travel companies and travel agencies. And so we've just been keeping a running list of these companies and industries that want to be involved in the space. They're just looking for more niche marketing opportunities.
That's great, man. That's great. I mean, if you're gonna monetize it, then allow those people to come on and use the platform to their benefits. One of the reasons why we've organized the podcast that we do here, I actually built a sponsorship page. Like, sponsor an episode? Yeah, go to the page. Tells you how to come on the show, and then it asks for a moderate $300 fee.
There you go.
Yeah, well, either you have to. I mean, right now this is a gold mine, right? Like when I first started writing about cannabis, it was only High Times and like 2 other websites, and the media space, the fact that social media fucking crunches against cannabis ads. Tom can't promote. We can't boost any ads.
Yep.
To do though for our next website is like, hey everybody, come visit us soon at cannabislegalizationnews.com. Miggy is going to be the editor-in-chief, and then we should have a submission process so you can really easily guest blog your thing about the local news of your day, and then treat it like a medium or something like that. Again.
Yeah.
Because with the right types of linking conventions and structuring it a specific way for SEO purposes, we would get mad traffic.
Yeah.
Mad.
That's when it comes to the mobile apps. So like for us, what makes it difficult is a lot of those features or things you want to do to monetize can be very difficult to get accepted into the Apple Store. So if you have payment processing or you have checkout carts or whatnot, it can be difficult for Apple to accept it.
I would play devil's advocate for a second when it comes to making software. Why are you going to have an app? Like, really, what is your upside benefit of that app unless you really need it if you're going to have to play by their rules? I mean, what types of features are you going to unlock that you can't do with, responsive web design?
Yeah, I mean, most of it is, just ease of use from mobile app perspective, getting in front of consumers that want it at their fingertips. It's the number one thing from our small user base that's been requested over and over and over and over. But until you find product market fit or you find out what this usability and these, user interfaces look like and design them, outside of a small, tiny startup perspective, then it makes it difficult. So for us, getting to mobile apps is obviously the end, but we want to make sure that, we're putting a product out there that people want to use, they want to use it, and then we can spend the time on the mobile app side.
And then hopefully not get deeped by the store for any particular thing.
Right. I mean, when you look at all the app, yeah, exactly. If you put in checkout carts, you put all these things, and then so you have the Apple Store, you have whatever the Google Store stuff is, then you have payment processing. Square obviously came out and said that they're willing to work with CBD related companies. Shopify works with CBD related companies now, a couple other platforms. But when you put in these things that when it comes to, I'm going to pay for this product, it becomes a little bit different in terms of what you're paying for. You're paying to buy cannabis, buy weed, all those kinds of things.
Are you hoping to do transactions through your website?
Potentially at some point. They're just opportunities, but it's like you can't do everything. And all the different laws are different per state too.
Maps is available on Google Store, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine. I was thinking about your product, and it's kind of like toys. First the cartoon comes out, then toys come out, but then He-Man fucked everything up and came out as a toy first, and then they made a cartoon around that. So you guys are kind of like, you got the website. It's kind of like Facebook. Facebook was a website first, but now it's primarily an app.
Yeah.
The same thing. I think with the catalog, it offers a good opportunity. And the Chicago market, though. I mean, that's just gotta, once you get that, you can, survive in any city.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so that's why our focus has been here and really trying to just understand how consumers want to use it and what are the value add features, right? Like what we found is most consumers, they're not, interested just in here's a joint and here's a picture of me smoking weed, right? Like they want to know the value. They want to know the information, where to purchase it, how to purchase it. If they could get it by delivery, they would, but they can't in a state like Illinois and some other states. So it's each state's its own industry. So it makes it very difficult when you're developing, you're trying to develop for a national model of but it's just not legal everywhere. And everybody's at a different perspective.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Where can we find Kannatopia?
You can visit us at Kannatopia.com. That's Kannatopia with a K. And we do have some social pages that haven't got shut down yet. So.
All right. Awesome. And Miggy and Tom, where can we find you guys?
Right here.
Next Sunday, Wednesday. Hey, Tom, we're going to be here Friday, aren't we?
We have a special episode on Friday. We're going to sit down with Rod Kite, cannabis lawyer out of North Carolina. If you need a hemp question, ask Rod Kite. And so we're going to be asking all sorts of questions about the new USDA regulations that came out for hemp and have really thrown a curveball, and that's putting it mildly, on the hemp industry.
All right. Well, as always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you later this week.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Kurt.
Kurt.
Cha-ching.